So the pharmacy was started by the Wisconsin Student Association back in 1972, and it was basically it was started to provide medications for the students and for the community. And then the Student Association had lots of stuff going on and they really couldn't run the pharmacy. So basically they gave the pharmacy to the community. So it became a workers' co-op.
We moved to this location. They had a very small kind of bulk herb section and some vitamins and minerals. It wasn't available any other places.
I've always studied natural remedies and natural medicine, and I thought how perfect I can learn it and get paid for it.
That a huge thing that motivates us is our community and our community's needs. So part of that is that we just see that there is a huge gap between what the healthcare system can provide and what people actually need, and there's also a huge gap in access there. So I think a huge part of what we do is we're kind of the mediary where if you can't go to the doctor, if you don't have the money or access to medications, we provide alternatives.
I love the fact that we have the freedom to be able to give the advice. All of us have such widely vast experience, so it's fun to just work with people on a one-to-one basis.
You know, it's not always about how hard and fast you can sell product. People on their own will come looking for advice.
If we weren't here, they would be looking for things on the internet, trying to navigate that as best they could. I think it's nice to have a place where people can talk to a real person.
Well, we provide options for almost every individual that comes in because our needs are all going to be very different.
It came from pharmacists having 3 votes, everybody else having 1 vote. So pharmacists had so much more power. And we wanted it to be more equal, so then we changed that structure by a vote, and a few people did leave because they didn't like that idea. But it felt to me like it was much fairer that everybody had 1 vote.
So it's a very self-motivated job, which is really fun, and it gives you a lot of freedom.
The workers have the power.
We all have 1 vote.
We don't have a manager. We have no manager, we have no boss.
Every worker gets 1 vote at the full staff meetings.
It's a little tedious at times.
It can be a little dysfunctional at times, just like any family.
But then you figure it out and you go home and feel like, all right.
It just feels like a community.
This is the only workers' co-op I've worked at. Honestly, I think it's wild. It's really fulfilling. I think I feel a lot of agency and I feel a lot of ownership of this place.
I like that we have the freedom to kind of pick what we're really interested in or invested in. I like that, yeah, if you really want to get interested in the business and how we run the business or how we do PR or how we find products to bring into the store, you can choose to learn all the ins and outs of that, which is really amazing. And you kind of get to determine what that's going to be for yourself and your fellow employees.
A couple years ago, there were big protests up at the Capitol.
The medics needed supplies for the group that was occupying the Capitol.
This was something that was dear to our hearts, so this was a good way for us to be involved, and so we would donate medical supplies to the medics.
It was really nice to be able to do something.
So we try to do outreach to our community where it feels right. So when the George Floyd riots were happening and the Black Lives Matter protests, we turned out to those, we provided supplies for them. But then we also just started kind of looking at what we can do and what we should do for our community.
So we also raised over $800 for the 350 Fail Fund in Madison, which works to get primarily folks of color out of the Dane County Jail.
We felt like that was a way where we could use our resources and our access to people who are just shopping retail who might have extra money to spend to put it to a cause that is actually saving people and getting them out of a local jail. And so we try to kind of get creative with how our access to our community and the public can be a resource for people who wouldn't otherwise have access to that kind of money.
Other outreach we've done some work with Needle Exchange and working to provide clean, safe needles for people.
We also we have like a local group come in and do Narcan training. So that's like a nasal spray if you've like overdosed that can save your life until EMTs can get there. And we have trainings that happen for that in our store. And we distribute Narcan during those trainings.
And we worked on several programs with needle exchange programs. We were very involved with the AIDS movement when it started about safer sex and promoting health about AIDS. Very involved with the women's reproductive movement. We had people who testified at the state when they tried to take away women's right for birth control.
Yeah.
I mean, it was amazing how backward things were and how, we were involved in so many of those movements. And we donated a lot of money to a lot of causes, especially health causes, over the years.